is a an interesting screenshot that somebody had found in one of the groups, one of the Sebastian Rogers groups back in, I think, June, but they posted it just recently. And I'm not sure if you've seen this, but hopefully it's new information. If it's not, my apologies. I still think it's very interesting and worthy of sharing. Let me share that with you real quick. Okay. I think you can see my screen. Good. Okay, so it says, and this was written to the mysterious disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, Hendersonville, Tennessee Facebook group. It was posted by Mrs. Information Erica on Twitter or X. I follow her. Oh, wait, maybe I don't. I think I do follow her. Anyway, she's awesome, always provides really great info. And so she shared this just recently. It says, so there's something that has been bothering me since neighbor Bobby gave her interview and mentioned the unidentified car in the neighborhood. I had a conversation with Chris earlier in the case. I asked him if he could tell me what he did all day Sunday, since we only heard about what Katie did that Sunday. He told me he was at the RV park all day and night on Sunday. He said he didn't leave at all. He mentioned that a coworker of his was staying at the same RV park that weekend. He said on Sunday, late morning, early afternoon, he was working on his coworker's wife's car at the RV park. I don't know anything about cars, but he said he replaced the serpentine belt. I'm not sure I spelled that correctly. He said there are pictures of him working on the car and that Ellie already questioned the coworker. I didn't think too much of it at the time of the conversation, but since Bobby mentioned the unidentified vehicle in the neighborhood, I started to wonder if Chris used the coworker's wife's vehicle to go to Hendersonville that night because he knew he couldn't use his own vehicle because the GPS would be tracked. I also wondered if the unidentified vehicle in the neighborhood I started to wonder if Chris used the coworker's wife vehicle to go to Hendersonville that night because he knew he couldn't use his own vehicle because the GPS would be tracked. I also wonder if the coworker would have been involved. Also, his comment that there were pictures of him working on the car is strange to me. Boy, that's strange to me too. Why would there be pictures? Katie took pictures of her day too. Could they have both taken pictures just to help establish an alibi? I just thought it was odd, but maybe I'm overthinking it. And then lastly, one final thought. I remember hearing that Seth's PI established Chris's alibi at the RV park because a coworker confirmed he saw him there at 8 p.m. Could it be the same coworker? Now, some of you may know and may have heard about this before. I believe it's Cluminati that has played an audio clip before. Are you guys aware of that? Let me know if you've ever heard it. I don't have it offhand, but here I'll tell you what I have heard. I've heard before, I think it was in Cluminati's chat, which I don't watch very often, but I have tuned in before. And it was a very fast forwarded audio clip of a random person, they sounded very random, talking about Chris and how he was seen or observed at this RV park, and that this person was a friend of his. Basically, exactly what I just read, which, by the way, I think I still actually have to finish it. But what I just read, it was the audio version of the guy telling his story. Oh, yeah, I saw Chris on Sunday. He was doing work on my wife's car, blah, blah, blah. And it was like so, in my opinion, After seeing this here, this screenshot really makes me wonder if that entire story is a contrived farce. Yeah, I know, Rita. I don't necessarily watch her either because I think she's rather hateful, but, she's not even the worst of them. There's so many bad ones, right? These hate channels are pretty rough. I've been talking about that more recently. It's awful. But I honestly wonder if there's something to this. So let me carry on with this screenshot here. Okay. I remember hearing that says PI established Chris's alibi at the RV park because a coworker confirmed he saw him there at 8 p.m. Could it be the same coworker? Perhaps they were covering for him. I'm not accusing, I'm just theorizing here. So please don't attack me. I forgot to mention that I do not know what kind of vehicle he was working on. He didn't say, and I didn't think to ask at the time. I find that so odd. Like, usually people take pictures often because they have kids to take pictures and capture, right? But it's very, very seldom do I, and I know that I don't speak for everybody, but very seldom do I ever take pictures of random stuff on like a Sunday night, right? It seems that it quite possibly could have been a way to solidify an alibi and say, "Look, see, I was here. This is the proof that I was here. There's no way I could have gone to Hendersonville." And by the way, if he's working on this car, and it's stated here in this screenshot, he could have just as easily borrowed that car and gone and assisted in some way, shape, or form. You guys picking up what I'm putting down here? If this alibi is as shady as it sounds like it potentially could be, the whole house of cards falls down. And what I'm going to do here in a moment is I'm going to tie in an interesting case that I was just reacquainted with in the past like 2 days. And I'll go into that. But basically, there was a case out of California City, California. And it was of two missing kids. You guys, if you've been here for a while, since like 2020, I'm sure you guys can remember this case. They were two missing boys, Orrin and Orson West, out of California City, California. So we're going to kind of briefly go through that case because I want to show you where I think the worlds collide, where studying one case could possibly lend insight into what we can expect with a case like this. So don't miss a minute of it. All of it's going to be interesting. All of it's going to have takeaways. And I think that there's just so much insight to gain from understanding the way this other case was handled anyway. Yes, Orrin and Orson, classic and sincere, were their birth names. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing that. In fact, we're even going to watch these parents, their 10-minute clip of them at their press conference, because I'm very curious to see if you guys are going to see similarities that I saw. I even ran this past my husband. I'll get into what he thinks when we're at that point. So right now I'm going to go ahead and start with that. Again, thank you everybody who's joining in right now into the chat. So good to see all these familiar names and faces. Thanks again for being here. All right, let's go ahead and start. Oh, let me make sure. Hold on one second. So I put together kind of a presentation because I needed the visual guide to kind of keep me on track. Because when you're talking about two different cases at the same time, I feel like it could get kind of not confusing, but hard to keep track of as a viewer. So I hope that these visual guides can sort of help. All right, now we're ready. Hold on a sec. Oh, here we go. Present. Let me make sure you're seeing. Good. Okay, so here are here are Trezell and Jacqueline West. So they were originally out of Bakersfield, California, and then they moved in it would have been September of 2020 to California City, California. On the eve of December 23rd, 2020, they took to the media to plead for their missing adopted kids. So 2 days before this December 23rd date, Trezell claims that he went into the backyard to collect some firewood and that these 2 little boys, these precious little angels, look at them, these precious little angels that they got out of the yard. Now let's go ahead and watch, like I promised, we're gonna listen to their press conference so that you can get an idea of how 2 people look when they are totally making up a bunch of BS. Now, the only unfortunate thing is the couple, Trezell and Jacqueline, they because this was during the height of COVID, they had their face completely covered. So it's not as easy to read the expressions, but I will tell you that when I showed my husband this, he straight up told me, that guy right there, he's got evil eyes. His eyes are so evil, Lauren, like, he kept reiterating it. So you couldn't really see anything else on his face, but those eyes were incredibly evil. So let's go ahead and get into this video, and I'm gonna share with you the whole way what's going on here. I wish I had somebody to do these screens for me. I'm sorry it takes a second. Here we go. We'll back it up. Hopefully everybody can hear. Thank you again for everybody coming in right now. Let's start.
We just want to thank everyone in the community for all the support we've seen. We've felt so helpless, and seeing everybody out here really looking and helping out really means a lot. So, tell us what happened the night that kids went missing.
Okay.
From our yard.
Okay. It was cold. I was gonna make a fire. There's a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. Keep them close. They was playing with chalk, and I came in the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them there. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, "Did you see the boys?" She said, "No, they should be outside playing with chalk." I said, "Well, I didn't see them." So I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open.
First thing to note, as you look at Jacqueline while Trezell's talking, what do you guys first notice about her body language? I know you can't see her expression on her face. Yes, Holly, yes. Swing like Katie. That is what really got me when I was watching this. I go, whoa, I didn't really notice this stuff before, but it's the constant swing. It's the discomfort. Like, oh my God, can we just get this over with? I'm just like, she's dying inside. She's so uncomfortable, right? Trezell is in a self-soothing, I can't say this, self-soothing position with his hands under his armpits in the most strange way, right? And he's just letting it all come out, this whole contrived, just totally made up story. I've, by the way, since found out, by the way, thank you to Crenshaw Incorporated. That's her channel name. She was big into this case. She recently did a FOIA, what do you call it, request on this case. And that's what made me start to kind of connect the dots and say, wow, can we really draw some comparisons here? Like, there's a lot of similarities. And she shared in this recent FOIA documentation that the fence that he's speaking of, and I'll rewind it a hair so you can hear that part. The fence he's speaking of, when the investigators come to actually look into this whole contrived story, they take notice that the fence he's speaking of is like a 40-pound fence. Like the gate is like 40 pounds of tension or of weight that it would take for a person to push that fence open to even get out. Since that's of course their story, right? Is that this 3 and this 4-year-old boy, they somehow break free of this fence and that they are now loose in the neighborhood. They're somewhere, they're unaccounted for, wherever they are. Okay, let's pick up his cockamamie story right now. I'll back it up just a little because I interrupted it.
So I didn't see him, so I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that hadn't pan out, I got in the van. I looked down the street, both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold, and I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names.
Okay, so now in his story, he's talking about leaving the home. He actually leaves the home in this van, this white van that they have, and he goes searching for these kids. He goes up to neighbors. He asks neighbors, "Hey, have you seen any 2 little black kids?" He drives around his neighborhood, totally feigning care and concern and worry about these, quote, 2 missing kids. Let's carry on. I don't want to give the story away too soon.
Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see me. So then I came home and I told my wife, we need to call the cops. It's getting dark and I need help. We got to get going. So I called the cops. Cops came. First thing they did was tell us to stay in the house so they can get a hold of us. And they had us just sitting there and we wanted to keep searching. But everybody came out in droves. And I wanted to thank you guys that night, but we couldn't go outside.
The cops told us the best are out here.
The best are out here searching.
Whoa, is that familiar or what? Okay, so far we've got the swing. We've got the driving around, well, and the contrived story. And then we've got they told us you don't need to search. The best are out there searching. Guys, I wish I could boost the volume. That's as high as it goes. I'm so sorry. If you have to turn it up a little, do that. Hopefully I don't totally blow out your eardrums in my talking. But yeah, already we're 2 minutes and 14 seconds into this interview, and we've already got 3 major similarities just in the bullshit story. Excuse my French. Totally. Thank you, Renee. Renee says no emotion and disconnected. Neither one of them are crying. They're just, if anything, I think just given a little lip service, and that's about it. They're saying something, but their body language says something completely different.
And we appreciate it. And nobody ever we could never talk to anybody. And that was the issue.
We just want to thank everybody.
We really want to thank you guys.
Please, if anybody has seen them, please call, let somebody know.
It call the cops, call California's the city police department. Call them and let them know what you've seen, if you see anything. Our boys, they are going to be rambunctious, okay?
They are going to be rambunctious. Another thing, did you guys catch how they're already thanking law enforcement? Oh, thank you, profusely thanking law enforcement for all that they've done. Law enforcement hasn't found those kids yet. So what's all the thanking, right? Katie and Chris have done the same thing, yet they don't attend any vigils. They don't go out looking that we know of. They're not out there shaking hands and thanking these people in person who have done all this hard work and heavy lifting to try to find Sebastian. It's bizarre. But that's not the end of it. Let's keep going.
They are going to be here in this area. And I really would like to go in the houses, but it's not because I want to invade people's privacy. I just want to know if
Make
they
sure.
make sure. That's it. Because I don't. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. If you got any questions.
Oh no, you're good.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna say, this is the first time we're hearing from you guys, and I can't imagine what you guys are going through. I can't even fathom it. Um, for you guys, for people who are thinking that there's some kind of foul play involved. We just spoke to the biological mother. She says she had a conversation with you guys, and that she thinks there's some kind of foul play involved. That she thinks you guys did something.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
Hold on. Hold on. They say when the interviewer says, people are talking about like foul play, what do you say about that? That's understandable? No. A person genuinely missing their child, they go, I don't care what you think. Help me find my child. They don't care what you think. They don't say that's understandable. That's insane talk. Am I right? And I feel like we've heard a lot of the same baloney come out of Chris and Katie too. Like understanding that people are, on their butt and they understand why. Like, no, I feel like an innocent person is going to be like, you're wasting my time. Please help me find my child. Like, I don't have time for all this. You're not going to sit there and say that's understandable and even entertain that because you didn't do anything. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly the point. And if we can find our babies, then guess what? That's no. And that's all I want is to find our babies. That's it. And I talked to her this morning, and I really wanted to tell her that I am completely sorry because we were entrusted with her children, and they came to us, and they became our children.
Let me give you some background knowledge. So what he's talking about now, because I know there's a lot of people in here that probably never heard about this case. So I believe it was 2019. Trezell and Jacqueline adopted these two boys, Orrin and Orson, or Classic and Sincere. They also had their own children. So they have two of their own children at this point. Then they have two foster kids, and then they've now adopted Orrin and Orson. Now, off of each child, they're getting $1,000 a month. So that's a total of $4,000 a month for taking care of these children. So now he's responding to one of the biological family members of the adopted kids of Orrin and Orson.
We named them, and they are our children, and so we want them back. So please, if y'all could get back on what you guys are doing, we should be able to get a hold of somebody, but they took all of our tech, so they wanted to, I guess, just rule us out, which makes sense as part of the investigation. So that's pretty much it.
Have you guys, you talked to the police all last night?
Yes.
So you guys willfully gave them your
Everything.
technology,
Yes.
the car.
Yes.
How did they get a search warrant? Did you
I
guys?
I,
no
I don't see
idea.
why they got one, but they got one. We
Yeah,
would have
they
let them
didn't
take
need one,
anything.
but
We would have let them take everything. We let them come in and search with us.
We would have let him take anything. We willingly gave up all this stuff. I mean, gosh, we're so innocent. Yeah, swaying like KP. Thank you. Yeah. 81. Completely swaying like KP. What's her name? Jacqueline will not stand still. She's so uncomfortable, which is, in my opinion, very familiar here. So far, you guys seeing why when I watch this again, I go, dang, there's a lot of stuff standing out. And then even in Trezell, if you ever followed the Chris Watts case, he reminds me kind of, some of the things about him are similar also to Chris Watts, in my opinion. especially like, I need to find them, or we need to find them, like acting like he cares about these kids, which of course we'll get to the crux of the story very soon. And Clover Bliss says, no tears. Exactly. No tears, which is so much to me, like Katie and Chris, honestly. We have never seen Chris cry, have we? I've never heard him cry in an interview. I've never seen him cry in an interview. If anything, he acts like business as usual and unmoved, unfazed, just, hey, like he's having a day at the state fair or something. Like, not a big deal. A child is missing. A child has been missing for over a year now, and they act unfazed. That ain't right. That ain't right.
We asked them to come do that.
What did they take?
Just tech. And that's it. Like our phones.
From the house?
Oh, well, I guess, should I answer that? Or?
Answer it does, yeah.
Okay. So, into the, okay, and I guess, I don't even know.
I see. Yeah, we seriously felt like we needed to be out here. We did. Again, we were told the best are out here looking already. Just to stay put. They have more questions. There was literally a cop with us the whole time in
And
there.
he had sitting down. We would ask, can we go help? They had to sit
Said
down.
nope.
He said, no, we got the best out there.
So
We
it's
need
not.
you guys here in case we have more questions.
I don't want you guys thinking we
don't.
didn't try. We actually
We
looked
tried.
before we called
We
the
looked,
police.
yes.
And I imagine the mind-boggling part is the search for information. What happened? Where are they?
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera.
And we're, yeah.
And just so we are able to present the information correctly, at what time did you guys notice your kids went missing, and at what time were they reported missing to the police?
It's about, I believe, I think it was about 4:30, going on 5. It was getting dark, like I said, 5-ish. But it's about it. That's when everything played out.
And then when did you guys call the police to report them missing?
After we searched
Yeah.
a little bit around here, it was dark, so we definitely we got worried.
Would you say it was maybe within an hour, a couple hours?
No, it was within minutes of us getting finished with our search.
Okay.
It was within minutes.
What do you guys want people at home to understand about this situation? For them, even speaking about what you guys are feeling is difficult. What do you want them at home to understand about this whole situation?
We're going through it. It's difficult. I mean, everybody's making their own their own conclusions. They don't know anything. We're not sure like everything. We're not sure. We said what we knew, and if anybody has seen them or anything, please call the police department.
Would you be willing to provide pictures, or do you have any?
They I have older pictures. All my newest were on my phone.
Ah, shoot. Did you guys hear that? They say, well, do you have pictures of them? I have older pictures. The newest ones are on my phone, which is a total lie, by the way, because what does come out is that they don't have but maybe like, Mar, how many pictures? Like 2 or 3 total of these kids ever? Like hardly any photos. My criticism is that Sebastian, there's not that many photos of him at 14, 15 years old before he vanished. Like all we're seeing of him is like age 12, 13, stuff that is really dated. Like we want to know, what did he look like just before he vanished? And so I put that out on Twitter today, or X, and I started getting some people tagging me in his pictures and stuff. So I finally am seeing some, but there's not that many of Sebastian at like 15 years old. It's very weird. Anyway, we're going to carry this one out to the end, and then I'm going to go over what ends up happening, okay? Again, stay with this. This is interesting because I know there's going to be parallels between this case and Katie's. A child cannot go missing and nothing result from it, right? So something is bound to happen. It's just a waiting game still. But I think we're getting closer.
Okay.
A lot of people are speaking of this as, you know, after the math, past tense. I want to talk about your kids in present tense. What kind of boys are these? Tell us about the boys.
Very playful, very rambunctious, and they do love to wrestle. They do love to kind of get rough with each
They're
other.
kids.
They're kids. Of course, they would love to go out, but so during the pandemic, we wasn't trying to go, you know, out here, and so we stayed inside.
Yes.
Yes, we did. We searched before we called the cops.
That's
That
good.
was
Okay, this is the adopted, or excuse me, the biological family again, giving them crap because they know their story smells like BS. So I want you to see their reactions as they're probed by the biological family.
that's what we
Yeah.
were saying.
What time did they come up missing?
They came missing right before it got dark. And then we called. I searched the property. I even drove around this neighborhood right here. I even talked to a gentleman on that side, one of those streets over there. I said, "Did you see some little black kids?" And that way looking for them. That's the way I was gonna come. But when I came back home, I decided to call the cops because it was dark. They couldn't have got away that fast.
And why did it take two people to go in the house and leave two kids out here by themselves? It should have been one parent going in and one parent right here watching the child, not two parents going in the house and leaving two little kids out here by themselves for 10 minutes.
No, they were in the backyard. And the back gate was open.
Out the backyard.
And the back gate was open, and I was getting wood from this lot here.
So you guys was being unresponsible, left the gate open, left some little kids outside with the gate open.
All right. Sorry, you guys were talking about your boys who you're, you know, I understand. For a mother's intuition, I know you were saying, and we'll get your names after this, but you were saying how you feel like they're in this area. Do you feel the same way? And what is the intuition? What is the sense you get? What do you think happened to your boys? Do you think someone took them? Do you think they're lost? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely know they're not walking around. They're not that kind. They do not just roam around. You know, these patches.
What she's trying to say is that they're not runners. They don't run. How many times have we heard that? He's not a runner. Yeah. Well, Jacqueline's saying the same thing. Check it out.
They definitely, I think definitely would have been picked up or something.
That was my assumption.
Have they ever taken off of the
No.
yard before?
No.
Nope.
They've never taken off.
No.
Okay, guys, now I'm going to present the rest of this so you can know exactly what happened and what came of it, because all of it matters. Make sure you can see. Good. Okay, so missing children. They were adopted in 2019 by Trezell and Jacqueline West. They also have 2 kids of their own and 2 additional foster kids, making 6 kids total. Let's talk about their official stories. They claim that Jacqueline was wrapping presents and the children were out playing while Trezell was collecting firewood, and that the 3- and 4-year-old got through the gate and went wandering off. So I posed the question, is Katie like Jacqueline? By the way, excuse my visual aid here. I really came up with this on a whim, okay? So, for starters, neither had updated photos of the children. Both left their home vacant while the kids were missing. So, Jacqueline and Trezell, right upon their their disappearance, the kids' quote disappearance, they left the house vacant, took off. That was that. And by the way, they had just moved into this home 3 months before. Now, Katie, from my understanding, she, Sebastian, and Chris had moved into this home about a year before. Sebastian vanishes, and then she pops smoke out with Chris in the trailer to, what was it, Horn Lake, Mississippi, I believe. So both left the home. Neither Katie or Jacqueline attended the vigil for the missing kids, or her kid. Both come from enmeshed families. Let me describe what I'm talking about. So, I was telling you that there's been this huge FOIA drop through Crenshaw Incorporated. She's a YouTuber. She's really awesome. She's been covering this case for like 4 or 5 years now. Well, she is going through these FOIA docs, and what we're hearing as she reads them off is Jacqueline's family went to great lengths to cover for her. In fact, her own sister acted like she had seen these boys in the recent past, like I think sometime around Thanksgiving or something, she claims. By the way, this disappearance happened, so allegedly at Christmas, but you'll see they'd actually been missing for months, okay? So Katie, we know she comes from a crazy family herself. Her mom has SA, I believe, SA charges and served time. I'm not sure which minor her mother was abusing. I don't know if it was her or if it was others, but regardless, it matters. So coming from criminal families, but also enmeshed families, the type of families to lie. We know that Chris Proudfoot's family, upon hearing Nina's interview, she spoke of a family that is the type to bury bodies for one another, right? You heard about Terry Bowersocks coming to the door, greeting Nina before with a bat. Like, this is crazy. A good family is never going to cover for you like this. That's what we call enmeshed. It's too much, right? A good family would hold you accountable and say, hey, I love you. I love you no matter what. But this is unacceptable. If you harm these kids, you need to go tell the truth. That is what a good mom or good sister or good whatever you want to say would encourage their family member to do. And both Katie, Chris's, Trezell, and Jacqueline's, in both families, you see these family members that are willing to lie, still do whatever they can to cover the ass of their loved one. And that is, wow, crazy. Both are rumored to be abusive. So we've heard firsthand, actually, that Katie was abusive towards Seth, that she actually did do the MMA thing, and she would get knocked down, drag out drunk, and would start abusing Seth. In fact, in the Smiley Stories interview, Katie was asked a question about how she treated Seth, and she sort of laughed it off. I just heard it the other day again. I was like, wow, she really didn't dismiss it. She kind of laughed it off that she was that rough with him. And for being a woman and being rough, it's still not a laughing matter. But a lot of people, I think, kind of give it the excuse that it's okay. It's not okay no matter who it is, right? As for Jackie, so in this FOIA dump today, I was listening, and I heard that Jackie, so they would take on these children. They would get $1,000 a month per kid that they were watching. Well, Jackie was taking care of 2 kids. It sounds like a while ago, maybe in the, before this, maybe like a year or 2 before then. And there was one kid in particular that I guess she would lose her cool, and she would put a kid in a scissor hold. She'd literally take her thighs, grip the kid's neck with her thighs, and hold him straight until he would black out. Insane. You will also hear in an audio recording I was able to capture that the abuse that they would perpetrate towards these kids was so unreal that it actually led to the death of Orrin and Orson. And that's why, obviously, they had to report them missing. I think what had happened is Christmas was coming soon, right? This was December 21st that they had reported them missing. And with Christmas coming, you know, there's all sorts of things to do, right? There's photos usually. People want to hear from you. They want you to come over. There's going to be Christmas exchange, you know, gift exchange. There's all these things to worry about around Christmas. And I think they realized they were at the end of their timeline and they had to report these kids missing because it was do or die now. If they didn't do it, somebody was going to really probably report that there was something hinky going on. Also, remember, they were making money off these children. So if there was, let's say, going to be maybe a CPS, or not a CPS visit, I'm sorry, like a visit to make sure that the kids are being taken care of, that was looming as well. It could have been a number of things. Okay, another thing we notably saw was the swing. Both Katie in this interview and Jacqueline in that standing interview next to Trezell, you see them constantly swaying back and forth, no good eye contact. It's very obvious there's something that they're covering for. Something very evil, in my opinion. This is my opinion. Okay, facts to know between Chris and Trezell. And I'm sure people in the audience, I kind of ran out on time with this, but in the audience, you guys who really paid attention to this case, you're going to remember a lot more than what I have right here. But we'll start. So facts to know, both are abusive, controlling type. Both delight in extreme punishments. Both Chris and Trezell thank cops profusely for nothing other than the optics because it makes them look good to be thankful and concerned about the children. Both claim children were not runners. Oh, and I think I got this word wrong. I thought that Trezell said mischievous. What he used was rambunctious. And I couldn't remember, did Chris use rambunctious or mischievous? Do you guys recall? Yes, coercive control for sure. And what you see is a relationship between Chris and Katie, Trezell and Jacqueline, where they finish each other's sentences. When they get uncomfortable, it's like, oh, like, I wonder if they just nudge each other or like, hit each other with their knee or whatever it is to prompt the other person to kick in because they're stuck on this lie that they can't seem to get out. The relationship between Chris and Katie, I think, has become the type that they're in so deep. I think they settled on a plan and now they have one over on each other. The same is true of Trezell and Jacqueline. And even in the end, Jacqueline did not give up Trezell on what he did to these kids. So that's what we call ride or die, right? You're down with them till you're gone, like till you're dead. Like you will never rat them out. They are your other half. Very, very enmeshed relationship. Okay, so here's what came of it. The investigation. So early on, the YouTube streets were totally taken by this case. There was a guy named AV Watchman, and he ended up going to the neighbor's home where this quote disappearance happened, right? Yeah, right. And he was able to retrieve surveillance footage from the neighbor's house next to Jacqueline and Trezell. And he was able to see that there was never, not only was there never any kids, but there was never any action there anyway. Like literally all you see is Trezell out messing around in the backyard. And then you see him take off in his van. You don't see any children walk out. You don't see any children walking around. You don't see anything like that. It was such a BS story, contrived story that they gave. YouTubers really did make a difference. Yes, they did. Because thinking about that now, Mar, the fact that AV Watchman was able to go get this footage, like, I don't remember how far into the case it was. Was it within like a week or two? It was just amazing though, because then he uploaded it and everybody saw that this was just a BS story. There were no kids out. The whole story was absolute malarkey, baloney, stupid. Okay, so the searching for the kids, this was the sheriff. His name escapes me at the moment, but for miles and miles around this California home, they searched and searched. They dug up the backyard. There were cadaver dogs, search dogs. They detected the boys sent inside the home, but nowhere on the outside. They see cell phones, electronics, SD cards were collected. They interviewed neighbors, friends, searched properties. Okay, now this is where the rubber really meets the road. After 1 year and 3 months, the Bakersfield DA announced that Jacqueline and Trezell had been arrested and that the children were presumed dead. The DA was seeking second-degree murder conviction, involuntary manslaughter, willful cruelty to a child, and false report of an emergency. So that entire time, so from December of 2020, then you go a whole year later, December 2021, you go past that to March, all of a sudden there's movement in the case. We thought it was never going to come, you guys. Just like right now, how we feel about Sebastian's case, it's been a year. We're going, okay, there is like nothing going on. Law enforcement isn't giving us any indication there's movement, that there's ever going to be movement. They're saying nobody's a suspect. Well, I went back and I revisited what law enforcement said about this case and what the sheriff said. And he, when I was watching his interview, he never said there were suspects. In fact, he refused to even address that Trezell and Jacqueline were suspects. So what we're seeing in Sebastian's case, it's just the way they do it. So don't let it get you down that they're not naming names. If anything, I think they're trying to keep them extremely comfortable and letting them do their thing, right? What's come out in these FOIA documents about Trezell and Jacqueline's case is that law enforcement was tailing them the whole time. At one point, Trezell and Jacqueline were even delivering like Uber Eats to people. Law enforcement was on their ass and they had no clue it was even happening. They noted, what car they had started driving and what turns they had taken, like very descriptive, detailed accounts of what these perpetrators were doing. They had tabs on them. And I believe that's exactly what's going on right now with Sebastian's case. They're keeping him comfortable. I mean, why would they want to tell them, yeah, you're prime suspects? No, they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to rock the boat at all. So they ended up going to trial. The trial. Okay. The California City couple originally reported Orrin 4 and Orson 3 missing on December 21st, 2020. Police immediately responded and began searching the area. Aerial searches were brought in, cadaver dogs, and even the community organized search parties for the children. Still, the bodies of Orrin and Orson have never been found. After a weeks-long trial, jurors in May found Trezell West and Jacqueline West guilty of second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and child cruelty regarding the death of Orrin, but failed to reach verdicts on second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in connection with 3-year-old Orson's death. A guilty verdict for child cruelty was returned regarding Orson. So now I want to read you I want to play for you what ended up coming out in these documents about how these kids died, like what actually happened to them. The person that put the nail in their coffin ended up being their biological child. He told the story of how these boys were treated. It was horrendous. The abuse was so rampant in the home that it was like an absolute hellhole. The kids that had come to live with them, for foster care, never wanted to go back to them. They treated them so terribly that it made a lasting impression in their lives. We'll put it that way. I'm going to play this clip for you. This is Crenshaw Incorporated. And Mara, if you could put her link again, just so everybody knows if they wanted to get into this case for a while we wait. You know, those FOIA docs are really interesting. And I'm going to play a clip of that right now.
And Orson West.
Hopefully you guys can hear.
All with blank, but Orrin West was not with them when they moved. Orson West was with their family for a couple of days.
Okay, so what she's saying here is that so remember how they moved in September? Well, Orrin West never made that move, just Orson. And it was very brief, the time that he even was in that house, maybe even just a day. Anyway, let's go on.
After they moved to California City, he later said he did not know if Orson West lived with them after they moved to California City or not. He said the night before Orrin West was found deceased, he, blank, Orrin West and Orson West were watching television in their living room while blank were fighting. Blank were all sent to their bedroom as a result of the fighting. A couple of minutes later, their parents called him, blank, to come out of his bedroom for a few seconds. His parents told him, you guys prepare yourself for this. His parents told him that Orrin West stole Orson West's drink, and he, blank, could have prevented that problem if he had been present. He observed Orrin West had Orson West's cup at that time. Nothing was unusual with Orrin West or Orson West at that time. Blank said he thought he was present when his father told Orson West to punch Orrin West, then left the room and did not see what occurred after that. He said he figured his mother and father whooped Orrin West, but later he said he was only assuming that occurred. Can you all believe that? So not only did they make his little brother hit him, they beat him like.
So Trezell and Jacqueline were so abusive that they delighted in watching the boys hurt each other. So they encouraged one boy to hurt the other boy, and it's believed that that could have been the fatal blow that killed the boy. Hold on, we'll carry on. There's more. It's disgusting.
After about 20 minutes after Blank was originally sent to his room, which was also about 10 minutes after Blank was told by his parents that Orrin West stole Orson West's drink, Orrin West and Orson West came to the bedroom where Blank was. At that time, Blank believed Orrin West was crying, but he did not observe anything else unusual at that time. Their parents did not come into their room that night since their parents went to bed and all six brothers went to bed in their bedroom together. Blank was awake to see Orrin West go to sleep, and he was, quote unquote, fine at that time. Blank heard Orrin West make grunting sounds at an unknown time during that night. However, Blank did not think this was anything unusual because he heard sounds during the night in the past and did not pay any further attention to those sounds. When Blank woke up the next morning, Orrin West was unconscious, face down on the floor. He did not have a bed, which is why he was on the floor. Wow, these people are terrible. Blank believed he was asleep and did not pay attention to him any further at that moment. Blank left the room to brush his teeth and went to another room with Blank to begin their homeschooling that day. Neither of their parents were in the homeschooling room with them during that time. A couple of minutes later, Blank's father called him, Blank, to come back to the boys' bedroom. Blank
Now, when she's saying blank, she's speaking of minor children, so they're not using their names, of course.
Went to the bedroom where his mother and father were, and Orson West was in his crib. Orson West was awake, but he was lying down. So that poor baby's just watching all this happen. Orrin West was still on the floor, but he was then face up. Orrin West's color was fading, and there was vomit coming out of his nose and onto the floor. His father said he used a stethoscope to check Orrin West and determine he was no longer alive. His parents said he was no longer alive, and they were crying. Blake did not see any blood or injuries to Orrin West. Blake's mother asked him if they should tell anyone about the situation, and both of his parents told him that all of the children would be taken away if they told anyone. How manipulative is that?
Good point. So, Trezell and Jacqueline called their son in there to sort of, I think, get him on their side and tell him what had happened, probably. And they stated it so that it would be like his idea, right? His idea. Let's not tell anybody about this because I don't want my parents to be taken away. And so they made this executive decision. I think it was the oldest son, Trezell and Jacqueline, that they were not going to speak of the death of Orrin. And so that's what they did. They kept it quiet. So then when, that was while they lived in Bakersfield, and then they ended up quickly buying this home, it seemed like, or maybe actually it could have been on the books already, but it seems like they were in an awful big hurry. So then they moved in September to California City, California, probably because it's in the high desert. It's a really good way of, you can make a good story out of it, right? That, these boys, they left, they must have wandered off into the desert and now they can't be found. Like, I think that maybe the story that they wanted to have to sell the public on, we'll say, seemed to be perfect if you factor in the desert aspect, right? So they move into that house, and it's believed, I think, that they had done something with Orrin, but then they still had one boy. So what actually happened to them? To the other boy, I'm sorry. Because we're talking about two kids, it can get kind of a little confusing maybe. So one kid's dead, the other kid's still alive. What happened? So let's keep listening.
Do you guys believe that? She's like, hey, well, should we tell anyone? Because they'll take you guys away. Yeah. Oh, therefore, Blake told them that they should keep Orrin West's death a secret. This is their son. He was a 10-year-old during this time, right? Imagine what he's going to grow up to be like. If at 10 years old, he's suggesting they keep a baby's death a secret.
Sick.
But what do you expect when his parents are Jacqueline and Trezell West? Blake's parents then told, there he goes, to go to the homeschool room and pretend everything was normal. Blank then went to the homeschool room where Blank remained throughout that time. For the next 20 to 25 minutes, Blank stayed in that room with Blank, and he did not see either of his parents. After that time, Blank returned to the boys' bedroom and observed Orrin West was gone.
Oh my gosh.
The floor was wet, which Blank believed was from his mother possibly cleaning the room. He initially said no one was in that room at that time, but he then said his mother was cleaning the room with a yellow rag and a spray bottle. Blake then went back to the homeschool room. He did not know where his father was during that time. He did not know if either of his parents or their van, which was their family's only vehicle, left that location during that time or not. He never saw anyone move Oren West's body.
Crazy. Now here's the next part that gets into a little more detail.
Oren West's body. He said after the above listed events occurred, both of his parents were sad, but they tried.
Oh, and again, for people just coming in, this is the testimony of the oldest son that ended up convicting Trezell and Jacqueline, these fakers that you saw in that interview. This is the real story, that the boys did not go out a gate that December 21st night in 2020. That the kids in actuality were killed one after the other, probably with just, I don't know the amount of time difference, but a small gap in between the deaths of each. So that would mean the second child that they killed, they did so completely on purpose. They knew that they couldn't keep one and not the other, right? The other one was already gone. What were they supposed to do, I guess? That's what they thought. It's evil.
To calm down and pretend everything was normal. He did not know what happened to Orson West. Blank told him he heard a thud in the bathroom during the night on one occasion, but he did not know if that was during the night Orson West went missing or not. Blank about this when they were at Miss Mary's, who they're saying is a foster parent's house. Blank could not provide any further details about that, including when that occurred and whether Orson West was living with them at that time or not.
Oh, hey, Lucy makes a good point. A thud. That's Katie's favorite word, isn't it? In the Sebastian Rogers case. We never heard about the thud initially. And when she retold the story, she told it slightly different to include the word thud. And just now, as Crenshaw's reading these documents, they're talking about the boy hearing a thud in the night. Interesting.
Jeez, you guys.
Thank you so much for yours. I really, really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Your support means the absolute world. So Kimberly Ann says, is this connected to Sebastian? No, what I was doing, Kimberly, is I was illustrating how this other missing kid's case started really moving after 1 year. And the entire time when this case was going on and the kids were missing, we were given no indication that law enforcement was even looking at the parents. But the whole time they were. It's just they never said anything to the public of the sort. And I think that exact thing is happening now in Sebastian Rogers' case with Katie and Chris, right? I think it speaks loudly to police, to law enforcement, when the parents of the missing child leave the home that they're supposed to welcome this missing child back to. Like, it's not normal to leave your home when you have a missing kid. Am I right? It's a bizarre thing to imagine. Like, what is that one case? Is it Johnny Gosh? I think it's Johnny Gosh. He vanished in 1982. His mother, for like pretty much the rest of her life, from what I understand, she's still been waiting for her son to come home. She never moved because she thought, well, what if he comes home? Right. So this is not normal. So for Katie and the defenders, the staunch sycophant defenders of her, to make excuses for her bad behavior, I'm sorry, if you loved your son, you would have never even left your home while he was missing. You wouldn't care what the public, how they're threatening you. You say, no, I'm going to park my butt right here and I'm going to wait for him. If that's what I have to do, I'm going to wait right here. You're not going to leave. You're not going to take your trailer out with your husband and go live like I said the other day, the Casey Anthony life. You're not going to do that if you're a good mom that's authentically missing your child. It's just not going to happen. So it really gets on my nerves that anybody can defend that kind of behavior, because you know and I know we would never leave if we had a missing child. For them, it's business as usual. Not a big deal. I was talking to my mom recently about this case. I took I don't know, it was 2 or 3 hours, and I showed her all the big interviews, the important things to know about this case. And by the end of it, she was saying, there's something really dead about Katie. I go, what do you mean? She's like, it's like nobody's home. Like in her mind, she's so divorced from reality, or so in her own world, that it's hard to take her seriously. She's not authentically acting like she's missing her kid. It was exactly what I thought without me saying it. I tried to not convince my mom at all. I just wanted to, in kind of like a prosecutor would present the facts and what right? That's what I did. I just showed her interview after interview. I showed her Smiley's World, some of the important parts of that. I talked about the background of the relationship with Seth, with Katie. I talked about Sebastian. I talked about the diapers. Anyway, by the end of it, she knew there's no reason why they should have a Chris and Katie fan club. How about that? When you take into consideration the CPS, the alleged CPS reports, which the sycophants want to excuse all day long and say, well, how do we even know that was anything important? What if that was nothing? Well, you know what? The fact that Seth has seen these reports and he knows they were bad and he's talked about them being bad, I think we can kind of take his word for it. But you see, the problem is the sycophants hate Seth so much that anything he says, that anything he does, they automatically dismiss it as lies, because they are being driven by hate, and the hateful person in the driver's seat is Katie. She just hates Seth so much. What can we say? Anyway, I'll get to some of your comments right now. I was thinking about taking some phone calls tonight, guys. If you guys want that, put a 1 in the chat. If you want me to do it next time, put a 2, and that will tell me if I should take some phone calls, because I want to know your guys' opinions. Yeah, my mom is a good analyst. Yeah, she is. And she used to work in court, so she understands how it works, how the whole process goes. Criminal court, actually. Okay, so people are saying 1. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, let me get the number ready. Give me just a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. And real quick, if you haven't hit that like button, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. It's been so long since I've done a call-in. Okay. I'm going to put the number in the chat. Oh, just a minute. Okay, guys, I put the number in the chat. If you want to call in, go ahead and do so. 602-456-6695. And what I want you to answer me is, when do you think the arrest is coming? If you don't think Katie and Chris quite possibly are the perpetrators, what is your opinion? Who do you think is? That's the subject matter I want to cover. Or you know what? Shoot, we can kind of keep it open anyway. Say what you want to say. Also, Donna and I think we're going to finish up our coverage that we did, remember 2 weeks ago when we talked about Sebastian Rogers? I think we're going to cover Idaho 4, all those recent developments that have come out with the text messages and stuff. She will be on with me. We're not sure if it's going to be Thursday or Friday. I don't know what to expect, like if I'm going to be sore or whatever after this procedure tomorrow morning. So if I'm feeling better by Thursday, we can do it. Otherwise, we'll do it for Friday. We'll do our live stream Friday on Idaho 4. Okay, again, the number 602-456-6695. Here's the number if you want to call it. And if nobody calls, let's say in the next few minutes, then we can just end it here. That's fine too. In the meantime, what do you guys make of that screenshot I showed you at the beginning? Maybe I should cover that while we're waiting for a caller. For people who maybe are just coming in. Oh, hang on, I'm getting a call. Hi, this is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Well, hi, this is Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
Oh, you know what?
My,
I'm sorry, the
TV
volume
on
is
mute.
sort of reverberating. Can you silence me in the background on your computer?
Yes, I did. I just did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
good.
actually on my television.
Awesome. Let me make sure everybody can hear you. Can you guys hear her okay? Let me make sure that guys, let me know if you can hear her so I can carry on so she can state what she thinks. Okay, good. We're hearing that we can hear you. So that's great. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right. Well, I actually just, my company just left, and I turned the television on, and you were on, and it sounded very interesting.
Awesome.
So I've been living and breathing Sebastian
for
the last 10 months. I'm actually, my name and my photo and my picture, if they're showing up, I don't know if they are or not, but are incognito because anyway, I don't know. I'm like, I'm gonna call.
I'm so glad you did. That's awesome.
So, you know, like I said, I've been living and breathing this case for, well, let's see, I guess 10 months at least. I can't remember exactly when I started following it.
Yeah.
But so, you know, I've been to Hendersonville. I actually was just there a few weeks ago.
Okay.
For the vigil. And then before that, I put out flyers and yard signs. And
wow. That's dedication.
That, hold on, let me make sure I got my phone turned up a little bit.
Okay.
Before that, I studied the family genealogy, like Sebastian's genealogy, because that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I feel like I've gotten to know the family and who the possible culprits could possibly be.
Yep.
And then when I stayed there for a week in Airbnbs. I stayed at one in Hendersonville, and I stayed at one in Gallatin. And you just get a feel.
Can I ask you a question? Okay, so when you were traveling around Hendersonville, Gallatin, everything, after hearing, I assume you have heard my live stream with Reverend Donna, have you or not?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, awesome.
And that was a part of what I was feeling.
Okay, good. Did
Yes.
you see anything that
So-
sort of looked kind of like how
Yes,
she
I did.
described it? Okay.
So, but so I just want to say that, part of my analysis was factual.
Right.
And so I had a feeling about Portland, Tennessee, because it's the northernmost town in Sumner County.
Okay.
So I felt like, just knowing the families, I felt like, well, 2 of the family members have lived there, or more than 2, have lived there. But I'm not sure if anybody lives there right now.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, they're familiar with that town, and it's Sumner County.
Okay, and when you say family members, you're speaking directly of Mr. Chris's family.
P's and B's.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Direct descendants.
Gotcha.
Sons and daughters.
Okay.
Son and daughters, yes.
I see.
Of the P's and B's.
Right.
Have lived, and might still, I don't know for sure, but 1 or 2 of them might still live there.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's public knowledge on Ancestry.com.
Okay.
You get to see the public history. I forget what it's called now.
Right.
But so when I went up there, the first day I was there, I drove up there. I went up I-65, and I was looking at this one address. I just wanted to get a feel for the area.
Okay.
And not even thinking about Reverend Don or anything. I went up there based on, my factual knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got closer to the address that was public knowledge that I found where one of the children of the P's and
Gotcha.
B's lived, my heart started pounding out of my chest.
Ah.
So, and I drove. So I put up the yard sign on the interstate. So then I went to Westmoreland, because I don't know if you're familiar with Janine Chrissy or somebody. I don't know about her, how credible she is or anything, but she had mentioned something about 27 miles north of.
Oh, okay. You're talking about like an intuitive type person. Is that right?
Well, yeah, she thinks she's intuitive. Plus, she says she has ties. She has historical, real ties to these criminals.
Ah, okay.
Richard Bishop, I think, is one of the names, and Dave Davidson. She named off all these people, and I don't know how credible she is.
Right.
But she was credible enough for Silvers on the Scene to go to Westmoreland. She didn't say Westmoreland, but people,
yeah,
like us, just kind of came up with Westmoreland because it was, there was a road going straight there that was 27.5 miles or whatever.
Okay.
And so Silvers on the Scene went there and found a cell phone on the side of the road while he was searching. And he found, and when he pressed on the button, the name Carrie came up.
Oh, that's a trip. Really?
Yeah, so he took it to TBI.
Good.
Yeah, and they ended up saying, they broke into it and everything, evidently, supposedly, and they told him that it didn't have anything to do with the Terry.
Okay. So a different Terry, perhaps.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I got to thinking, oh my gosh, well, Portland is. So I drove around Westmoreland a little bit. Also, that same day that I went to Portland. So I went back to my Airbnb in Hendersonville, and I put up signs all day, and
That's awesome.
because weird things started happening, like the lights would flash and stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
so so what happened was I went home and I rewatched. You were on with, you had a replay with Reverend Donna.
Okay. Yeah.
It was like part 3.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'd already seen it before.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, you know, and I wrote down everything, you know, that she was saying. And I'm like, I'm going back there tomorrow. So this time I took Long Hollow Pike instead of I-65.
Yeah.
And it was just the weirdest day. And I look to my right, and there is Danny Guy's house.
No, that's crazy.
I had no idea where he lived.
Wow.
No idea where he lived. Even though, I mean, I'm on Ancestry, and I know where a lot of these people have lived for the last 30 to 100 years.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, he has this big sign in his yard. It's a wooden permanent sign that says, second generation construction, Danny R. Guy, phone number, address, you know, but there's a big hill, so I couldn't really see, you could see the rooftop of his house. I'm like, holy crap, are you kidding me? So I go on up the road to Portland.
Yeah.
And let's see, where was I going? Reverend Donna had mentioned the lake.
Yes.
So the first day I was in Portland, I didn't go by a lake, but I got on Google Maps, and there is a lake there.
Okay.
So I drove by the lake. Oh my gosh. And there's only about 8 houses on this lake. And I looked for everything. And I saw 5 green pickup trucks.
Oh, that's a trip too. Okay, so hold on. I have some questions real quick, if we can pause. So this lake, do you know the name of this lake that you're speaking of?
Yes. It's called Portland City Lake.
Portland City Lake. Okay. So when Donna was describing it to me, she said it like in the most matter-of-fact way. She said that if you looked at it from an aerial view, it would look like a phallic, honestly. That's how she described it. Yes, that's how she described it.
Okay.
So it kind of makes me want to look here, you know, once I'm off, but to see if that kind of resembles it, because the fact that it's so close to his house, that's bizarre.
I have to get on and look at it again.
Right.
But, I know she said something about an L.
Yeah, in a Z, like she also spoke about a Z. You know what? I've got some of her notes here.
About the street.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. So I got the address of every house on that road. So while I was driving around the lake, I put up flyers all around the lake.
That's awesome.
So if Sebastian's there, these people are going to come out of their driveway and see those flyers for the first time in a year.
Oh man, they're going to be
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to be calling TB and saying, "Oh my God, they're on to us." You know,
right.
Whatever.
Right.
This is how I'm feeling.
For sure.
You know, I'm there. I'm kind of, you know, very nervous while I was doing all this. But I actually went back the next day also. My daughter came and met me, and we went in her car just in case.
Smart.
And put up signs everywhere.
Good.
And one other thing. While I was driving around the lake, there's actually 2 lakes side by side.
Okay.
But while I was driving around the lake, I drove by this one house, and it said, "I love my church," with, you know, "I heart my church, Freedom Church."
Yeah.
Guess who? Do you know who goes there?
That sounds like Kathy, I'm imagining.
Yes. Yeah, she's got that on her Facebook.
I'm not surprised.
I heart my church, Freedom Church. That's where they go.
Okay. Interesting.
And so, you know, there's connections.
Right.
So, anyway.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
I saw this number that you put up. I'm like, I got to call.
Oh, I'm so glad that you did. Yeah, I'm so glad that you did, that you took the time to talk about this stuff, because I really would love to go in person. Honestly, I'd like to go and I think talk more to like the teachers that knew him. I would love to pick their brains.
I know.
I don't feel
I
like
would
it's a
too.
I don't feel like it's like a call I could make and just talk to them over the phone. Like maybe it would require being there in person to really understand the scope of the situation with Sebastian. I believe
Oh, for
that,
sure.
yeah, I believe these people genuinely cared for him and
I do
probably
too.
picked up in an empathetic sort of way exactly what was going on. And I think he confided in his teachers and stuff. It's incredibly sad that nobody could prevent what happened and that he's missing still to this day, a year later.
Mhm.
It's desperately
Yeah.
sad. Yeah.
I mean, to me, what Reverend Donna said just made so much sense.
Oh, yeah.
I was driving around,
Mhm.
and you know, these people are evil. I mean, we already know TB is evil.
Oh, yeah. Agree. I completely
And I
agree.
can 100% seeing him doing that.
Yeah.
I really can.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody, like, in the chat or you ever heard that interview. Well, it wasn't even an interview, it was a phone call. It was on JS for Justice channel back when she was covering Sebastian, his case in the very beginning, back when she was not Team Proudfoot. And
Yeah,
she
I
had
never
a
really watched her, but
yeah, there was a guy that called in. His name was Matthew. So anybody, you can go and search this after you watch my video here. He calls in and he was speaking so much about
oh
Terry.
yes,
Yes, about
he
Terry's
worked. Yeah, he
sordid
worked.
past.
Yes.
Yes. And so
He
much.
worked with him or worked for him. Yes.
Yes, he worked right alongside with Terry Bowersox. In fact,
Yes.
guys, this video is probably from 10, 11 months ago, if memory serves me correct. And everything he talked about, I felt like was completely connected to the RV industry. So when Donna started picking up this like steadfast and this stuff that related back to RVs and trailers and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think she's totally picking up the Proudfoot family. I'm sorry, Proudfoot / Bowersox family. Completely. Especially after you hear that phone call.
I may have to go back and listen to her previous
Yes.
interviews.
Yeah.
I'm kind of watching the chat here in a distance, and I see some people asking about the lakes, and one of them is Portland City Lake, and the other one right next to it is like a, what is it, Fisherman's Club or something. I forget the name of it. It's right next to it, like Sumner County Fisherman's Club.
Okay.
But anyway.
Interesting. Well, it is.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I did send something to Doug the Bounty Hunters team at night.
Good.
With my thoughts, because
yeah.
I mean, the thing is, he's on private property. If we're right, if we're correct,
right.
If Donna is correct, I believe he's on private property.
Yes.
And so in the very beginning, Chris said, I even have put a copy of it, a link to the audio of where Chris was saying, oh, everybody go out and search all you want. Just make sure you don't go on private property.
Oh, gosh, you're right about that.
Yeah. And so right then I'm like, okay, well,
that's exactly where you look, is the private property when he says that.
Exactly. That's why he said nobody's ever going to find him.
Right. And all the time he talks about, what is it? Evidence instead of saying tips. Oh, they don't have any tips. No, he says they don't have any evidence. It's like, dude, of course you hit everything.
So how are we going to get dogs on the private property? I mean, basically they just need to send dogs to every person who knows TV.
I know.
Who is a friend or family of TV in Sumner County. I believe it's Sumner County.
Right. That's exactly what needs to happen. And they need to cross-reference where all phones were. And if their vehicles are newer vehicles, their telematic system, if they have it, where were their vehicles that night? That's the kind of stuff that I hope is being done. But you never know. I also feel like they treated Sebastian's case like a runaway for the first, I've heard, at least week. Like they didn't even collect Katie's dash cam until after a week, from what I understand. And that's because she told them, "Hey, I have a dash cam." And they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we need that." But
Oh,
it's like real stupid stuff, you know what I mean? Important stupid stuff that they should have collected. So that's been my only concern is did they take this as serious as they needed to from the get?
right.
And I hope they did. I really hope they did.
I don't think they did.
Oh, that's the part that's upsetting. Yeah.
Because Chris Proudfoot has a way of
Being chumsy?
taking over the narrative.
Totally. And that's exactly what he's been doing. Yeah.
Right, all the time.
Rewriting history too. And making it sound like he was like stepdad of the year. Did you see those recent videos of Chris instructing Sebastian how to use what do you call those?
Yeah.
A skid steer or whatever it is? Maybe it's not a skid steer.
Not a backhoe with front hoe.
Yeah, it was like a backhoe or something. But anyway, he looks like the most amazing stepdad ever. And it's just like, wow. Interesting that he would put these out.
I have to say, yeah, he did demonstrate patience for a change.
Yes, he did. Like he's putting out these squeaky clean, things, I think, to change public's image of him.
Right.
That's what I'm interpreting.
That's the only one we've seen, really.
Yeah,
because
I know.
He also put out the other one of Sebastian riding the bike.
Right. Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. But, the kid should have had a helmet on. He's got water on the brain.
Oh, that's right. He sure does.
Yeah.
Which is so serious. Uh-huh.
He's digging in the archives for anything he can find to make him look good. But I do have to admit, he did demonstrate patience.
He did.
When Sebastian was operating the...
Yeah, totally. Totally. And then when you hear these other stories about him, like, throwing his toys out and stuff, it's just like, wow, that's a hideous thing to do. It's not even your child. It's your stepchild.
But you know what? I think, okay, so let's take that. And what about Terry Bowersox?
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about him.
I know. Gosh.
Let's see some videos where Terry Bowersox treated
Sebastian
nicely.
Uh-huh. I'd pay to see it. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. I bet you there's nothing.
I know.
I think that man is evil.
Totally evil is the impression I get.
And his wife wants that granddaughter, that blood
granddaughter
so badly.
Yes.
That he would do anything for her. He would get rid, Sebastian was going to go, if Sebastian was going to stand in the way of her son getting custody of her granddaughter, I think those two are the key to everything.
For sure.
Really
to me, and of course, people will say, "Oh, come on, you're crazy for saying this." But I think there's a case of, I think it's called folie à deux, mutual delusion between the two of them. And they sort of remind me of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Just nutty and crazy and would do sinister things. That's the impression I get.
Wow.
After hearing Nina's story, after hearing what that guy Matt said, I think that this is a different...
baseball bat.
Yes. Who answers their door with a baseball bat to somebody that
says, "I'm going to bat you and your kids' heads in"? That's what Nina said.
It's insane.
That Terry said.
Yes. That is just not normal.
So now, allegedly, we have a witness of him threatening to bash a kid's head in.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure Reverend Donna didn't know anything about that.
No, she did. But when she did this original reading, I think that was before even Nina came out, which is what makes this information so credible, in my opinion.
Makes more, yeah.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you ever saw her coverage of the Lori Vallow case, but that's where I found her from, that particular case. And when she went into that reading, she knew so little about the case that, like, she didn't even know, okay, is this a stepdad? Is this a mom's new husband? Who is this guy? Like, she didn't know any of the details. And the details she extracted from that reading were everything that came out in court. So, like, I understand that the less she knows, actually, the better she does on honing into what happened. And back when she did her reading, she did not know much at all, just what Seth had told her.
Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think she started doing the reading just before she had the conversation with Seth, even because she was telling him a little of what she was picking up, but she didn't tell him everything because she was worried that it was going to be too much for him. So she kind of held it back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But just remember, you know, when I went searching up in Portland, there was,
Yeah.
I had forgotten about watching Reverend Donna.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going on my genealogy research and where they lived.
Right. Okay.
And then when I came back to the Airbnb that night, you and her happened to be on. I think it was like part 3 or something.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it just everything just fit and fell into place. And I just felt like Sebastian was saying, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Like that. These are the signs. Follow the signs.
Find me, yes.
I know.
All the signs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I really hope he's found. Oh my gosh. That somebody comes forward, you know, that somebody does the right thing.
He's on private property.
That's what I
feel it really is.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I think there's something to that for sure.
Well, I won't keep you longer.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you called in. Yeah, what is your name?
Love your show.
Thank you. What is your name?
Well, I changed my name to Sassy T.
Okay. Okay, good. So when I see you, I can say hi specifically to you.
So right now, I kind of changed it to be incognito. I don't, everybody gets harassed when they get too close.
For sure. No, that's good. Just be careful.
But yeah, SASSI.
Okay.
Capital T. So.
Well, it's a real pleasure speaking to you. You have really good insight, and thank you.
Praying for your results.
Thank you.
Don't know everything that's going on, but I know I watched you when you were on with Bob and Donna last time.
Thank you.
You were scared about something, so
yeah,
I'm not sure what it is, but I'm praying for you.
I really appreciate that. Thanks so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you for calling.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, go back.
Bye. She was awesome. She was so nice. Hello, Bed Crime Story. She says, sending you prayers for your biopsy. I know those are particularly painful. All will be well. Thank you so much. I love your coverage of, well, every case you cover, but thank you for being here. It means the world. She says, Chris's family doesn't seem like they embrace Sebastian as part of their family. I completely agree. Just that one video that we saw of, I think it was Sebastian. Was it his birthday? It was like at a public place, a public venue, like a gaming type place. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like an arcade or something. And it seemed like Chris's sister was very uptight with her. Very like irritated by him. Sick of him. I hate to say sick of him, but that's what it seemed like. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. At least some of you. Very creepy. Yeah, I think it was a bowling place. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it was. Lucy, thank you so much. Sending you all the best, Lauren. That lake looks like California, Skyby 50 says. Ah. Okay, she said it was Portland something. Do you guys remember the name? Portland something lake. Let me see if I can do a search on it real quick. Portland. And it's by, is it by Gallatin? Portland. Somebody's gonna, Portland City Lake. Thank you so much. Portland City Lake. Okay, we're gonna see how it looks from an aerial. view. Images. Let me share this with you so we can view it together. Okay. Portland City Lake. So does that? It's like, okay, how do we view it the way Donna has described it, right? Like, I'm not necessarily seeing a particular shape. Are you guys? That's not even the best image. Let me get a better aerial if we're lucky. Oh, you know what? Let me give you also, we'll take one more phone call and then we'll be done. So the phone number is 602 456 6695. I should write it in the chat also. Phone number. Okay, I'll highlight that. So yeah, if you want to call in and voice your opinion on anything related to the Sebastian Rogers case or the case I presented tonight that had quite a few similarities in my opinion, whatever you want to talk about. Oh, I like Mike. Is it Daman or Damon? I'm not sure. Hi, Janine Simmons. She says, at Mike Daman, hello, good to see you. I watch you on your channel. Love your work. Wherever Mike is, I'm not seeing him. I assume he's in here, right? Anyway. Oh, there he is. There he is. Somebody's calling. Hi, this is Lauren. Can you hear me?
Is this, is this PieLo?
Yes, this is SweetiePieLaurenMax. Lauren, yeah. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Awesome.
Good. I'm gonna speak real quick. So, I was fixing to get ready to bed, and I heard the lady a little bit before giving her thoughts and stuff. I was like, I have to call in.
Yeah.
Because I actually emailed Reverend Donna.
Okay.
My thoughts too. So, I don't want to say who I am, but
that's fine. Yeah,
I
you can be
live
anonymous
in the town.
Okay.
But I was, and you may hear my dogs in the background. I apologize.
That's okay. No problem.
Sorry about that. But since this case, the Bower Sox live close to us. But
Okay.
what I was listening to the video of Miss Donna, Reverend Donna, I emailed her my thoughts. I calculated people involved. That's Chris and Katie,
Okay.
Danny, Terry, Kathy, and Daniel. I just don't know who Daniel Bower Sox, the relationship to how he fits into them. But with that being said, Danny, Terry, and Daniel all have businesses within a mile of each other.
Oh.
2 miles, 3 miles from my home.
Interesting.
They're all within a 1 to 2 mile radius of each other.
And okay, you're telling me they're all business owners and they all have businesses
Correct.
very close.
Correct.
Interesting.
And Danny's, the property where his business is, the first thing that I noticed was the sky, because there's a big water tower on his property. It's very
noticeable.
It gives me chills. It gives me chills.
Okay.
And gives me chills. But all three of their properties are together. Terry owns the dump over here where people take their trash.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
No, yes, ma'am. And we actually take our trash over there.
Wow.
And well, not all of it, but like if I'm cleaning house and
right,
I have something I want to get rid of. That's where I take it.
Okay.
We have a city that comes by and gets hers, but there is that dump there too where you can take, recyclable things and, just certain things.
Right.
It just happened to catch on fire in April.
No way.
Yes, ma'am. I sent Miss Donna the date.
Okay.
I think it was like April, second week of April. But I sent her the specific date because it was in the news. It caught on fire. So we couldn't take our trash, things we needed. Is a big thing here locally.
Wow.
And this Daniel guy, Bauer Socks, is, and he looks a little bit younger, and he does live in Portland.
Ooh.
Yes, ma'am. And
Wow.
I just don't know how, what exactly, what relative, what's the word for it? Like on your family tree, I'm not sure where he fits.
Right.
But
okay.
He's on there.
Okay.
So, one of the things that Miss Donna was talking about, Reverend Donna was talking about, was steadfast. Well, to me, when I think of steadfast, I think of something godly. Our pastors are always talking about being steadfast, it's spiritual.
Okay.
Well, she also mentioned about they took Sebastian somewhere, from somebody's house to somewhere.
Right.
Whether it be a railroad car. Do you remember where she talked about where they took Sebastian and something? Maybe it was like a train car or a railroad car. Something like that.
I've got some notes that she sent me. You know what? If you guys want to stand by, I can get you an answer on that. Go ahead. You tell me what you're going to say, because I've got something to tell you too. Go ahead, though.
That Daniel Bauer Socks works for a company, and it's in my notes that I sent her. I could not find your email or how to email you, but I did send it to Reverend Donna. I was like, I don't know, SweetiePieLo, I don't know our email, but that Daniel does work for a railroad company.
Oh, wow.
He's a quality guy, and he, like I said, that company is like a mile or two, like they're all right in a hub, like within a couple miles radius. And on their website, everything is Christian.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, says that to me.
Yeah.
The first thing I get is Christian.
Right.
And that's what's on their website. And they work on the railroad. Now,
wow.
there is a lake by, it's Old Hickory, but one of the things that that really just kind of, it just made me, I don't know. I even showed my husband. I was like, "You think I'm crazy? Look at Miss Donna, and then tell me what you think of this." But there's a steam plant.
Oh.
It used to be called Gallatin Steam Plant. Chimney tops, smoke coming out of them all the time.
Okay.
You could go down there and fish, but they've blocked it now, so you can't get back there. But the fact that these 3 or 4 have businesses around here and they have the power that they have, Danny, one of them lives in a subdivision called Plantation.
Okay.
I want to say it's is it Danny or Terry? One of them, I don't know. One of them did. It's in my notes. But that steam plant has always got smoke coming up. And then the Bauer Socks, they live 2 miles from me, maybe if
That's
that.
really close.
I've been on searches for Sebastian many. But where they live like on a corner. Well, not exactly on a corner, but the road goes. It's anyway. It goes straight, and then it kind of
like a zigzag.
Almost like a. It goes straight, and then it almost looks like if you took an E.
kind of like an E or something.
Okay.
But if you go back, because we've been searching back there before, it kind of dead ends, and there's hills.
Mm.
And you can see, at one point, you could see like a bulldozer back there. But it's just hills and hills and hills. And I don't know if they own that. I heard they did.
Oh,
We've
man.
even looked for other entrances to get to that property.
Okay.
Don't know if the Bowersox owned that subdivision when it developed, but they live, if you pull into any way, it's straight. But the Bowersox lives like maybe one or two houses off. It's kind of almost like an L or something. It's weird.
Okay.
Very weird. But if you look up any way, there is like hills back there. But this is my theory.
Yeah.
They took him.
Mm-hmm.
Whether at whose house, I'm not really for sure. I question if it wasn't the Bowersox.
Yeah.
Because the Bowersox house is so close to these others, Danny's and Terry's and Daniel's businesses.
Yeah.
Like, they're all like just, if you look up their businesses, they're all like just
so close
together. It's just so ironic.
Oh, man.
Well, the Bowersox just live like a mile down from all this, 2 miles, maybe 1 to 3. I'm not good at mileage, so
yeah,
maybe 1 to 3 miles, but it's very within a real close range.
Right.
And I think that I don't know. I almost, was it premeditated? I think it was. It's just too
convenient,
too clean. Like
yeah. Right. And
I think they just got tired of it.
Yeah, and the lack of evidence, that's what we have to all remember. The lack of evidence is evidence. The fact that it was so clean and seamless and smooth. Like, okay, first of all, I have a child. I've said this before. I have a child the exact same age as what Sebastian is, right? Born in 2008. If my son left in the middle of the night, there would be all the signs that he had left, right? There'd probably be a trail of crap he took, and then he decided not to take this, so that's on his bed. Like, there would be evidence. There would be a sign that he left. From how it sounds, there is no sign that he left. The fact that his shoes were still in the home, there's no jacket missing, but then it's really convenient, right, that Katie stated that a flashlight was gone. Like, of all the things, you're going to remember a little keychain flashlight? Seriously? Give me a break.
It makes me think that when they do recover him,
yeah,
he'll have that flashlight with him.
I know.
But, I think they got tired of him. I think that that day was just almost like the Last Supper, and I hate to say that. God bless him. But I'm going to tell you this, and I have no reason to, tell anything that's not true.
Right.
My dog is not like a professional, like some of these dogs. But when Sebastian was missing and they had the command center up there, I took one of my, I didn't have the second one then, but I took my one dog up there to go searching for him. And the lady in the command center come out to me, and she said, honey, I said, do you have anything, so we can get his scent? She said, it's okay, we've searched that house 12 times, and they can't get a scent anywhere.
Oh my God.
And that's what the command center told me face to face. And so I took my dog and we left, because she's like, we've searched it like 10 or 11 times and we can't get a scent at all. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't get a scent?
Yeah, that's, you know what? I need to have you hold on just a second. My computer's going to die. I've got something to tell you when I get back. I'll be right back. Just stand by.
No, you're okay.
Okay. Okay, stand by a little longer. I have to
No, you're good.
look for this base of this charger. I think my daughter has it. Just 1 second.
That's okay. I understand.
Thank
I
you.
left my charger at home today, and
Okay, that was lucky. I found it just in time.
no, you're totally fine.
Thank you for your patience.
I want to tell you my thoughts on it.
Yes.
And this is just from trying to put two and two together from Miss Donna, like Reverend Donna.
Yeah.
But I think they took him to the Bowersox house because it's close.
Yeah.
Over here to these businesses, and I think she mentioned a child might know something. I think the niece.
Yes.
That Katie.
That's what I think too.
She knows that they took him back to that house, and they left like she knows something. Whether it's who he left with, or them bringing him all to the grandmother's house, the Bowersox, or she knows something about that night.
For sure.
She saw something.
For sure.
But I think after that, they took him to one of their properties, and that's where it all went down.
Yeah.
I think that the police need to search every business, get search warrants on their phones, on their businesses. I know some or one house may have got searched. I'm talking about the property of the businesses. When you start researching their businesses, it is creepy how connected. And I want to go look and find out if the railroad company cars have steadfast on their trucks.
Ooh,
or some kind of writing like that.
That's a good point.
I almost bet they do.
Maybe we can look at Google Images or
not sure how Daniel, if he's a cousin or I don't know. Like I don't know if I don't know the relationship bloodlining is, but it's too much of a coincidence.
Right.
And there's railroad cars, and all these businesses are just together,
conveniently located. Right.
And there's also it's a big factory called Hogany's, and a couple years ago, I don't know exactly what they make, but they have big ovens. That it creates a lot of smoke off of those. But when I saw chimney and smoke, I saw the steam plant. I think that it used to be called the Gallatin Steam Plant because we used to go fishing around it. We can't get up there anymore because it's quite dangerous because the currents and the water is just it's so much. But back in the day, they used to let you.
Right.
But there's steam coming out of those chimneys, those stacks. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's interesting.
And there is a lake around. It's called Old Hickory. But it goes everywhere.
Old Hickory. Okay. I'm writing this down.
Little ends of it. You know how like a lake will run into like a little, I don't know what you call them, but hickory runs everywhere.
Okay.
But that steam plant, and I just, Terry's trash place, waste place. You can look up it's what the name of it is, but it's the Gallatin where you take your trash. I mean, it's
Gallatin. Okay.
and it's just like right on the same. I think Danny's business is on the National Way or something like that. It's so like in a circle.
That is so
Crazy.
that's so interesting that they're located so close to each other, that they have these familial ties. But like the details you're giving me, it sounds so similar to what Donna's described to me. And
I know
to
it.
you guys.
I sent it to her. I emailed her. I don't know if she saw it.
Yeah.
I wanted to email you too because I was like, I may be totally like,
Yeah.
but it's just too much.
Yeah, for sure. It's concerning also that that this guy, did you say, oh, I'm sorry, Terry, that Terry has a trash place. So are we talking like a dump site, like where people can come and get rid of
Like
their stuff?
Right. Business, like they can bring their like what have I taken over there before? I've taken boxes, like cardboard boxes. You could bring like your say you trim your shrubs.
Yeah.
They have a place for that, or tires, or anything, and like they have big dump trucks and companies that come and dump too.
Okay.
Like it's a pretty busy place. Like
has it been around for a long time, or is it relatively like a new business? What do you know about that?
Sorry, my dog is snoring. I apologize.
No, I can't even hear it.
Sorry, it's really loud. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not sure how long it's been there. I know that we've lived in Gallatin 10 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, the city does come and get our trash. But when I've got something that I like is trying to get rid of something, or, you know, we've raised kids and teenagers break stuff, or, you know, just
right.
whatnot.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, you take there. You can take anything there, but it's waste. It can be recycled. You know, like a cardboard, like a place for cardboard, and then you can bring tires or clippings on your scrubs down to just junk.
Oh man!
And you have to weigh when you come in. Like, this is the thing: you pull in, your car gets on the scale, and then it comes around, and then you pay.
Okay. So you pay by the pound. Is it kind of like you pay by the pound then, if you have like a big load with you?
Something like that. Yeah, like they weigh it. I'm just not sure how long that's been there, but I do know that he owns that.
Very interesting.
And it caught on fire in April.
That is so fish flavored. Oh my gosh.
It's conveniently caught on fire.
Right.
Conveniently.
Yeah.
And yeah, and what else? You know, I just think the niece knows something.
Oh, for sure. And I was listening.
I think she was at the grandma's house when this all went down. Yeah, they all went over there. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
The story's not just what Katie says it is.
For sure, there's some missing link here, and Donna has expressed that too. She says there's some missing thing. The timeline is off. There's something going on here. She saw that like a 6 or 7 year old brunette child, girl, you know, female child, was a witness. And remember, Katie, in one of her interviews, I can't recall which one, she said that on that day, on that Sunday, where they did all this activity and went to the restaurants, blah, 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 she said that he saw both of his aunts, 2 of his aunts. So it wasn't just one, there was another female there too. And then the little girl.
Yeah. Well, the story changed. Like, one minute she picked up the niece.
Right.
Next minute, the niece's I think mother, her name's Melissa, maybe.
Yep.
The Melissa mother said that she picked Katie up.
Oh, wait, Melissa said that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so the story grows.
Like there was some conflict between their two, like, you know, Katie, and I don't know if Katie just, like, she said that, like, I don't know. Katie was like, first she picked them up.
Yeah.
And then the sister-in-law, Melissa, said that it was some discrepancies there.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if they like went over to grandma's house later that night, or if the little girl saw them bring Sebastian there. Something. She saw something though.
She saw something for sure.
But the Bauer Sox house is on Anyway, and these businesses are on just within 3 miles, 2 miles. Like they're just
so close.
It's yeah.
Too close.
And Reverend Donna said something about like a railroad car. You know, maybe like the Daniel, he does some kind of quality for that.
Okay. Okay. So he's tied into that industry.
There's another guy that owns it.
Okay.
Don't know what his relationship is to him, but
this is so interesting. Yeah, and remember in Nina's interview, or her testimony, we'll call it, she was talking about one of so Nina was talking about one of Kathy Bowersox's brothers named Big D or something. Do you guys remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, Big D sounds about as evil as one would need to be to pull off something like this. So I've always wondered too if he had a place, to be honest, because he was part of the group that was bullying her, treating her horribly, right? At the house and stuff. This Big D character. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay.
He owns one of those businesses.
Oh, so that's who Big D is.
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense.
Is that not who they call Danny, or is that different?
I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, Sassy T says yes.
Danny?
Okay, yeah, she's saying yes. Big D is Bryant Duran Guy, Kathy's brother. Okay, good. So we've got that established. Okay. So that is his name.
And he lives in Plantation.
And that's pretty close, right?
Homes are like $1 million homes.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, they're like the congressmen and shit, like I don't want to name their names,
right?
But live over there.
Okay.
And her home is like $49 million.
Gee, yeah, right.
So when I found out he lived over there, I was like, now if he still does, you know, can have moved, but that's the information that I looked up. I was like, he's got some money then. And the Daniel Bowersox is younger.
Okay.
I don't know if that's his son, cousin, don't know.
And when you say younger,
are all. He looks to be about late 30s. I'm not good with age.
Almost Chris's age, because Chris is like 41ish or something. 40, 41. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, about the same age.
Okay.
Yep.
Very interesting.
He's the one that works for the railroad tracks.
I see.
And, with the Christian stuff all over it. I would love to see their company vehicles. Because I believe Reverend Donna said something about a bumper sticker on it.
She might have. I'm trying to remember. I've got notes.
I want to re-listen to it again. Like I keep writing notes down, but I did email her all this. But I think this was planned.
Oh, for sure.
And I think there's 7 people involved with it because you know, obviously Katie and Chris.
Right.
Terry, Danny, Kathy.
Yes.
I think I said Terry and Daniel. So that's Chris, Katie, Kathy, Terry, Danny, Guy, and Daniel. Maybe there's 6. That count right? I'm tired.
Yeah, no, I'm totally. I'm getting what you're saying for sure.
Like
that's a
Kathy
lot of
and
people.
Terry, Chris and Katie. That's 4, and then Danny. That's 5. And then Daniel.
Right. That's a conspiracy. At that rate, that's a conspiracy. That's a whole group, right? For sure.
I think they're into a lot of stuff that
some
Yeah,
off
like
color type stuff. Yeah, no, I get it. Real quick, I need to say hi to Lolo. She says, I'm going to have to go to bed soon. Will someone please let Lauren know I sent her an email with an overhead pic? I saw your email, Lolo, and I really do wonder. I'll send that to Donna. And also, I think you sent me a super sticker. Thank you so much for that, by the way. I'll send this to Donna and see what she thinks. It's an interesting photo, no doubt. It's an overhead, like a overview, an aerial shot of Portland City Lake. And remember how Donna said it's like a phallic shape? This one honestly looks like that. Let me see if there's a
oh wow.
yeah, it's interesting for sure. What
Well, I know the Daniel Bowersox lives in Portland.
okay. So that's very
Yeah.
very close.
Mm-hmm. In a house that's not as fancy as the rest of them. Remember what she said about that too?
Repeat yourself. I kind of didn't hear the last part.
I'm sorry. In a home that's not as fancy as the rest of the home.
That's right. Comparatively speaking, because these other ones are like extravagant, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I mean, Plantation, yes. The Danny,
it's beautiful.
The Bowersox.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, I mean, we have a nice home, so I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
But Plantation definitely. But Daniel's in Portland is totally different than the other homes.
Oh man.
I did notice that. I haven't been able to find the tractor or anything like that.
Okay.
Or the honeysuckles on the mailbox, but
I have a question. Didn't you say that when you had seen a property, I'm trying to remember if it was behind the Bowersox, you said there was a lot of mountains and that you saw, was it a backhoe or something like that? I can't remember what property.
Yeah, it not really mountains, but like it's kind of hilly.
Hilly. Okay.
Like here's the subdivision, and their house is like this. I don't know, second, third, right off the main Enid Way.
Mm-hmm.
But Enid Way kind of deads in to like kind of like hills, foothills. And there was like a backhoe down there doing construction when we were searching a little bit.
I see.
It is private property, so we have,
Mm-hmm.
But we were looking to see if there was another entrance to the property, because whether this is true or not, like I'm not sure about this, but I did hear that they might own that property.
Okay.
Not sure.
Okay.
About that. Like I haven't been able to prove that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it is hills.
Okay.
Like it's like hills. It's not like mountains, but it's like
hilly.
Just hilly. Yes.
Okay.
Very. Like it like it's kind of hard to, like, you have to walk downhill and up.
Mm-hmm.
On this property. That's why I was like, is there another entrance to this,
right.
Property?
Yeah. And see, like, so with,
but I don't know how.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem.
I just don't know if it's true that they own it or not. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But all these businesses together is
right.
I just found that really odd. And if you start looking at the properties of these businesses, it just gives the creeps, like, really bad.
Oh,
I would
for
like
sure.
for Donna to look into that.
For sure. I you know what I really wish? I wish Donna and I. Say that again. I'm sorry. I talked over you. We're a little delayed.
Especially Danny's business property. Like, it's, for some reason, that one really is it's just.
So you get a sense of darkness surrounding it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. Okay. Would you call yourself a pretty intuitive person? Intuitive, like you get feelings about things that a lot of times end up being the case?
Well, I'm probably not like Miss Donna, but I think that I try to,
I believe in God. I'm a Christian, and I believe
Yeah.
that sometimes, you know, I've had some feelings about things. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I had an aunt that didn't answer her phone one day, and I called the police. I was like, something is wrong. And this happened a couple of times. And I had the police knock down the door because I had this awful feeling.
Wow.
And they found her down, and then
Wow.
you know, certain things, like just different things. I've had some things. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
This will really give you chills.
Okay.
So my father-in-law passed away during COVID. God bless his soul.
Oh, that's so sad.
And he was a veteran. Okay. He got COVID, and he had heart surgery, but then he got COVID, and it was just a double whammy.
Jeez.
It was probably a year or so later. I got a text message from, and his name was Jack. And I got a text message from this man named Jack. Are you going to come get me? And I thought, well, somebody's playing a really sick and cruel joke on me, because they know he passed away, and like, so I was mad. I was upset about it. I was like, who's sick doing some kind of joke like that? I'm coming to get you. This is Jack.
Yeah.
So I called the number, and this man answered. Now, keep in mind, my father-in-law passed away at the Nashville Veterans Hospital.
Okay.
From COVID and a heart attack.
Oh, it's so sad.
And, we miss him, Jerry. And this man, I called. I said, who is this? And it was a man that answered. He goes, this is Jack. And I'm like, what? He goes, yes, I'm waiting on my daughter to come get me at the veterans home. I'm in Florida.
Oh, weird.
My father-in-law passed away at the veterans home in Nashville, and his name was Jack.
That's a trip.
My husband lost it.
Yeah.
Lost it. He is my witness to this. Like, yeah, he heard it. He's like, is this too much? Things like that happen to me. Things like that. Oh, yeah.
I completely understand. I understand what you're saying about your father-in-law. I lost my father-in-law last April, and I don't know if I'll ever be the same. He was really the closest thing I ever had to a dad, and he was such an amazing, such a funny person. So just the type that you just wanted to be next to, be with, and then he lost his battle to cancer. But so this is kind of an example of intuition. I would never call myself anything beyond just a little intuitive, but like we were living in Hawaii at the time. We were eating a spaghetti dinner. It was my husband, my kids, and my father-in-law and his wife. So my husband's stepmom. Okay. We're all eating, and all of a sudden I look across the table, and my father-in-law is choking on his spaghetti. And I'm like, Pop, are you okay? Like, what's going on? He goes, and he's like struggling, He goes, I just been having a hard time swallowing lately. And I'm like, Pop, this is very serious. You need to get to the doctor. That can be a sign of esophageal cancer. Like, I straight up told him, so he would take it seriously. About 4 months later, we got the call that he had esophageal cancer. But it was like a feeling I knew when I saw him choking. I already knew that that's what he had. I just knew it. I knew it within my soul. As a matter of fact, I know it's awful. It was very sad. But the day my husband called me to tell me that he had heard back from his dad, and that his dad, that he found out what he had, I told him before he told me, I said, he has esophageal cancer, doesn't he? He said, yeah. It's like, I knew it. I just knew it. And then what's really weird about that, I know, me too. What's really weird though is like about 2 months before I saw him choking at that table, I was pregnant. I was at the very last part of my pregnancy with my daughter, Layla. And I would go to I was at the point where I go to the weekly appointments, for checkup right before delivery. And I would listen to this podcast. I was living in Hawaii, It was like a health Hawaii podcast, and they were talking about esophageal cancer and Barrett's esophagus, and like that's a precursor and all this stuff. And I just remember I was so tuned into what was going on, and then little did I know that
Oh, wow.
that knowledge would end up telling me, like, Pop, get to the doctor. This is no joke. So guys, just as a PSA for anybody listening, you ever see your loved one choking, get them to the doctor. The very first sign, because that's such a deadly cancer. Anyway, not to go on about that, but I completely understand that love for your father-in-law and that intuition. And I'm so sorry about your father-in-law.
Yeah, sorry about yours too. A friend of ours, we just found out that she has esophageal cancer.
Oh, gosh.
So she's going through chemo, and it's just a horrible.
It is.
You know, she can't swallow. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about your father-in-law, but I know you miss him because I miss mine
So much.
Like, he drove me crazy when I was here, but you know.
Yeah. No, I completely get it.
I miss him.
Yeah, it's so
just
sad.
things of intuition and
Right.
And you know, I do think they need to get all their phones, like Reverend Donna said.
Yes, I agree with you. I hope they've done that.
There's too many. You cannot tell me that Miss Kathy Bowersox does not have a Apple Watch.
Oh gosh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But I tell Miss Donna, just look at those businesses and
Okay. I will.
It's too close.
Too close. In the descriptive info she got on this whole situation, I feel like it's such a dead ringer for this whole sick family dynamic, for the key players. Like how she describes this tooth, that she called it like was it a popcorn tooth she described it as? Yeah, I pull up a picture.
That's crazy.
I know, I pull up a picture of Terry and I'm like, oh my gosh, his tooth it does look like something is actually overlapping his tooth. It protrudes so much. And that's one of the important things. Yeah. Yeah. I believe that to be a very important key, you know, because she's really shown these various things, and it is like charades. When she tells you it's like charades, it is, I believe, because she'll get little glimpses of different key clues, right? And then it's up to her to how she's going to interpret it. So like in the Idaho 4 case, what was that? No, that's okay.
I totally believe her. Like I was like,
oh yeah.
Oh
No, she's no nonsense. And she'll never BS you. She'll never tell you she knows something when she doesn't know it. She'll say, no, I didn't see that. Right. She's very honest. So when people get on her case, it really upsets me because I'm like, the only reason I believe in psychic ability is because of her. I would never probably believe in it otherwise. Like, yeah, I think people might have gifts and stuff, but the way she interprets this information and then conveys it, and she tells it like a story, right? It's like a bird's eye view. Like the way she described the Idaho killer, right? She says, okay, he just went around from the front of the house around the back. Okay, he just went into the sliding glass door. Like she's telling you a play-by-play of what she's seeing. And it is no nonsense. That's what people have to understand. She can only convey what she's shown as clues or like in plain sight. Yeah.
It's a gift.
It is.
It's a gift to help these people and these victims that don't have voices.
Yes, for sure.
That's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
But she's got that email, and it's. I sent her pictures of each business. And if you look it up on a map, you're gonna be like, "Whoa!"
Okay, I'm gonna check into this. I'll get with her, and we'll be live. I think either Thursday or Friday. We'll be going over the Idaho 4 info, but I will remind her to check her email about what you've told me tonight because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that steam plant.
Yeah.
they changed I think they changed the name, just so you know, and you can tell her.
Okay.
I think they changed it from Gallatin Steam Plant to like the Fossil Center or Fossil Resource Center or something like that.
Okay.
But it's big chimneys of smoke.
Okay. Fossil
Like,
resource. Yeah, I'm jotting down
so
notes.
I may be wrong, but I took what she said and that's what I put together.
For
I was
sure.
like, OMG.
Very interesting.
They took him to the Bowersock's house, and then they took. The reason why I say the Bowersock's house is because she said the brown-headed lady.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
I know, but
their house, and then I feel like they went to that house or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Then they went and did what they did to poor Sebastian.
See, and I wonder too about that sister Melissa, because remember it was that sister Melissa that talked about running over Nina. So how sick you gotta be to encourage somebody to run somebody over, right?
Well, how she talked to him in just the videos.
Exactly.
Just like she was like belittling him, like.
Right.
Like, I felt like she was belittling him, like putting like I just got this feeling of her being like over him, putting it like he didn't say anything wrong to be talked to, like.
I know.
The tone she talked to him.
I know.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. It was
She's
horrible.
rotten too, I think. I hate to say that, but
I think so.
I don't get good vibes.
I don't either.
I don't get good.
We can just.
I don't get good vibes.
I know. We just need to pray that that law enforcement is on their trail and looking into all aspects of this possible conspiracy, all the players, that all of them need to be looked into, not just Katie and Chris, right?
Right. Like 6, 7 of, well, I counted 6.
Yeah.
But they're, and then my thing is, did Sebastian find out something that, they a lot of power and money there.
That's true. That's true.
Like.
Mm-hmm. There could be something to that for sure.
Poor baby. But Seth needs closure, and
he does. It's not fair.
He needs closure, and it's not fair, and we just need to pray that God reveal it.
Yeah.
Need to bring it to a head, and justice is served. So,
for sure.
But love watching you, and
Thank you.
And I watch your videos, and Reverend Donna, and just tell her to keep doing what she's doing. Cause
thank you.
When I listened to her, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's right over here. There's another case I want to tell you about.
Sure.
Nobody's talked about it. It's years ago here in Gallatin, and it was a husband. They lived in Bluegrass subdivision. His wife come up missing, and they never found her. I'll send some information about it.
Wow. Okay.
I'm looking into that too, but nobody.
Yeah.
So there's another case that nobody really did anything about, but this one, I think Reverend Donna nailed it.
Oh, I think she did too.
It's just
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is she always gets the big stuff. She extracts it, right? Like if you go back on all her readings she's ever done, she gets the crux of it. She does. Like with Dylan, oh shoot, what was his last name? Dylan, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, with Gabby with Gabby Petito, every detail.
Gabby Petito, yeah.
Every detail, like a play-by-play of exactly what happened with her. I mean, unbelievable. And then Idaho 4, she's been right about the order that they were killed. I mean, she's been right about so many things. And people got upset because of the whole her talking about the bread aspect of that. But what people fail to realize is she said she sees bread, right? Remember I told you it's like a game of charades. Well, Coburg Bread is like the biggest bread company, I guess, in Europe.
Oh my God.
So she was seeing bread because they were trying to associate a name with the image she was seeing. So it's just stuff like that. And people misinterpret. They think, oh, well, she made it up, blah, blah. No, She will never say she knows something she doesn't know.
I believe in her.
Oh, she's real. Have you ever listened to her JJ Tiley reading?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But I'm just now starting to really.
It's nuts.
Starting to listen to her a lot. To be honest with you, like.
Yeah. It's nuts. That's all I can say.
But what
is that one? If you want to see psychic
case and just listen, I'm like, whoa.
Right, for sure. Now, if you want to see psychic ability, that right there proves it. Especially because it's time stamped, right? She did it January 31st, 2020. The kids weren't found until 5 months later, 4.5, 5 months later. It's unequivocal, like no BS. It's truth. You can't dispute it. It's crazy. So I encourage that. Everything that she said happened to those kids, and the manner, what they were wearing. She described it. She described every detail months before it came out.
Is that the case where they burned them?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Is that the one?
Yes.
That's on my to-do list, is to really
yeah.
I wanna hear her on that. But
oh yeah.
When she started talking about this with Sebastian, I was like, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stacks and
yeah. I think she was seeing all that for a reason. For sure.
And I was thinking honeysuckles, they bloom when? Like that, I haven't been able to find anything about honeysuckles.
I don't know.
But when do honeysuckles bloom? And or is it a street, or is it,
right.
It could be anything like that. But
yeah, in my experience, when she sees like a flower, for example, I feel like that's usually because it's a name. The name is important, because there was this whole situation. It was a trapper. Okay, so she kept talking about trapping in this reading that she was doing on Lori Vallow's case. She just kept saying the word, and she didn't know why she was saying it. Well, as it turns out, Chad Daybell's home was situated very close to Trapper Lane. So they were trying to describe the location.
That gives me chills.
Yeah, it was insane. So I've seen her get that kind of info right. I mean, it's pretty nuts. So I think honeysuckle is probably because it's associated with a name that's important in this case.
Well, I'm doing some research. You let her know that. And I'm
okay.
I just don't broadcast it. I have been on some searches with some people that do YouTube and stuff. Like, I do listen to the cases and,
Yeah.
But I'm going to do my research on these company vehicles.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
I think that they need search warrants and
for sure.
I think there's going to be a lot of data evidence on this case too, like their phones and whatnot. And they burned his clothes. I'm like, they burned his clothes. Like, I just wonder, did she see where they burnt them at?
Oh,
because
gosh. Mm-hmm. I know.
There's so many, like, there's a lot of businesses around that have a lot of fire stuff, and that's why I was like, where did they burn them on?
Totally.
Or where?
Totally. And then you talking about Terry possibly being in this. Well, actually, it sounds like he surely is in the trash, like, removal type business. Oh my gosh. That's worrisome.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like there's a lot of money there, and where did they get their money from? That's
right.
another thing.
Yeah, you have to wonder.
How did they get it? For these businesses?
For sure.
I don't know, but it's a big trash place. Like, it's not like super big, but like big dump trucks.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to wait. They're just lined up.
So there's probably good money in that, I would think.
Apparently. Well, I know when I have stuff to take, you at least pay like $6 or $8
just to
minimum.
Okay, just to throw out whatever you've got on you.
Yeah.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. My husband's like, I don't want to take it there because it's it costs
money. Yeah, for sure.
But
Wow. Well, you've
So
been a
when we have
wealth.
things we want to get rid of.
Oh, for sure. You have been a wealth of knowledge tonight. I've been so fortunate to have wonderful callers, and thank you for calling tonight and sharing the information that you have.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I love listening to you, and I'm
Thank you
going
so
to
much.
keep listening to you guys. And
Thank you.
maybe for you.
I appreciate that.
I almost was going to bed. I was like, I need to call in and tell her this. Like, she's going to think I'm crazy, but
No, it
get
doesn't
with
sound
Reverend
crazy.
Donna on her email. And
Okay.
you know,
Sounds good.
Great.
Great.
It'll give you chills. It did me. I had my husband look at it, and he goes, "Oh my!" And I'm like, "I know, right?"
Dang. Okay, that sounds really important. I'm going to definitely look into these businesses. I'm going to get with Donna about the information and have her check her email so she can see if she gets a feeling one way or the other, about it.
Yeah, and look up Enoch Way.
Okay.
The hills are right on the and the Gallatin steam plant, the chimney thing.
Okay.
And tell you something else that it may not be anything, but it caught my eye is on Danny's property. There's a big like water tower, and all you see is the sky. It's real tall.
Water tower.
Like it's really tall. It looks like an old water tower. I don't know if it's still functional, but it's big, and all you see is that tower in the sky. My dog, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine, no problem. No, that's interesting.
But you see the tower in the sky, like it's just all sky and this tower.
Which is what Donna, I feel like she talked about the sky aspect. Like, why was she seeing the sky? But maybe that really does matter, as far as the location goes.
I don't know. The one thing I saw was just the water tower. It looks like an old water tower, whether it's functional now or not. And you can see that in the sky, and it's on. Is it on their website, or is it if you Google it? Not if you Google it.
Okay.
His property.
Yeah.
His business property.
Okay.
But that water tower's there. It's just kind of. I don't know. It may not be anything, but it just kind of. I was like, that's weird,
No, I'm sure. I'm sure it all ties together somehow. So, and hopefully someday we know, right? That's what I'm hoping.
It's past time for this baby. It's past time. We go out to eat, and the night that he come up missing, my husband's like, "You want to go get something to eat?" Where does my husband pick?
Yeah.
Texas Roadhouse.
Really?
And I just. Yes, and it gives me. I said, "You realize you had to pick here on the night that little Sebastian went missing?" He goes, "Oh, I didn't think about that."
Dang.
It gave me chills.
Yeah, for sure.
So, just it's affected a lot of people in the community, and
so
not
sad.
even in the community,
right?
But
international.
I do know that a friend of mine made some green bows up, and I'm going to go hang them everywhere. Like, there should be one by his school and things like that. I see signs ever so often, and I hang up signs, but I think everybody should just start putting green bows up for him.
Oh, me too.
Yards and whatnot.
Me too. And it's probably going to upset the perpetrators who did this, but I think we got to put pressure. We got to put pressure out there by not forgetting him. Get the green ribbons, all of it. I think it helps spread the message that you can't be forgotten about.
Oh, I do too. I do too. I think they're getting nervous. That's I will say this.
Yeah.
I witnessed this firsthand. We were on a search, and it literally, I don't understand it. I don't comprehend it, and I've even had my family say, "Look, you don't need to be involved in this." We had people following us, harassing us, and we were just searching.
That's so weird.
For Sebastian. I've never heard of people running off searchers for they were following us down the road.
That's so weird.
I don't know who they were. It was weird.
That's evil.
Really.
Evil. Yeah, I've heard Seth say the same thing, that he's never seen so much
it was
evil. Yeah, it's horrible. But, you know, you're strong, you're courageous for carrying on when you see this opposition, right? Between the evil possible perpetrators, and then you've got people defending the evil possible perpetrators. All of it's horrible. It's hard to stomach.
I don't understand how they can even
defend them. I know.
I've heard it though. Like I've heard it.
I know.
Defend them, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
You don't see like a year later, you're gonna do an interview. A year later, I mean, come on.
Right.
A year later.
Yeah.
That's most people around here locally think about like what I think. You have their little group that doesn't, but the neighborhood, they want them out of there.
Oh gosh, I can only imagine.
All of them.
I can only imagine.
Everybody's like, they want justice for Sebastian.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when you stop and think about the facts of this case, that he vanished between, we'll say, I don't know, midnight. Yeah, we'll just say 10 and the next morning, right? Like something very fishy happened. And again, I say the lack of evidence is evidence too. This was very well orchestrated, planned out. Everybody was on the same page and verse. They were all working in concert with one another. And that's how they pulled this off. This was very well executed.
Oh, I think so too. I had my doubts at first, but
yeah,
you know, the first thing when I told my husband that day, I said, I don't understand. They can't get a scent, and they basically turned me away with my dog because there was no need, because they've searched the house like 10 or 11 times and they can't get a scent.
For sure.
And the first thing out of my husband's mouth was, sounds like somebody's been doing a lot of cleaning.
Oh, totally. Totally.
And I mean, I don't know anything, like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I just don't comprehend, like, how there's no scent on him in the house where he lives, and he had to be carried out.
Right. And remember, I don't know if you watched,
carried out.
I don't know if you watched the beginning of my live stream, but I was talking about these other kids, and I was doing a parallel of the cases and the way the parents acted.
Oh my gosh.
There wasn't any evidence of those kids being in, I think it was in the yard either. Just, I believe they had the scent of one of them in the house, but never in the yard. So, like, there are just so many similarities here. You know what I'm saying?
A lot. They even, and it's like you could almost make Katie and that woman like sisters.
Completely.
Like, it's creepy.
Completely.
Like, and the rocking back and forth.
The rocking, the self-soothing. She was tripping over her words. She couldn't even, the lady Jacqueline, like when she was trying to talk, and then she had her husband like filling in her words for her, just like Chris does for Katie. It was so similar.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he does. It kills me. And the one thing that just really, when they're talking, is how do you snicker and laugh when your child is missing?
I know. It's such a mystery.
I'm like,
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's time for justice. Like I'm like Reverend Donna. Mm-hmm. We need mug shots
for sure. I know. I love how bold she is.
Mug shots.
Totally. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for everything, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. And hopefully you call in again sometime.
Oh, you too.
What was that?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing some
Some
my
digging.
little digging and looking into
Good.
things. So if I find out anything, I'll call back and let y'all know. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks again. I'll talk to you next time.
I did email. I was going to tell you, Sweetie Pie. I did email the detective. My fault.
Good. Okay. That's really
Detective
good.
Carter. So I don't know. So
Fantastic. I'm glad you did.
That's how serious I was like, please look at this.
Good.
Please.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you and take care. Lots of love to you.
You too. And you keep doing what you're doing. And you have a good night too.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
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 All right, bye-bye.
Guys, we had some fantastic callers. I also saw that somebody became a member. Let me see if I can go back. Let me get out of this real quick. Hold on one second. Yeah, we've been really fortunate with awesome callers tonight. Okay, I don't want to miss the member that joined. If I can't find it, whoever did that, thank you so much for joining the membership. That's always available. There are ways to support my channel. That your support means everything to me, because it's definitely, it's just so appreciated. I mean, there's no words, honestly. Deborah Dixon says, let's keep going, Lauren. Do another live when you can, darling. I will, Deborah. I'll be back. Probably Thursday or Friday. And then, you know what I was thinking is I need to make a schedule and try to stick to the schedule. Like, do at least maybe 2 lives at night per week or during the day. I don't know. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think my schedule should be. I'm open to both, mainly during the days, but I'll do occasional night lives where we can just kind of kick it and hang out with each other and take phone calls and stuff. Anyway, guys, I thank you so much for being here. 35 more likes will get me to 1,000. If you guys could each hit that like button right now, that'd be so wonderful. Thanks everybody who tuned in tonight. I hope you found value in this. I hope that Sebastian will get the justice he deserves. Lots of love to you and yours. Bye, guys. Good night.